Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Friday, October 24th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The high in Riverside today is 79.4 degrees, with a low dipping to 57.3, so expect a pleasant fall day with mild breezes. Coming up, we'll examine the legal challenges stopping President Trump's efforts to send National Guard troops to cities led by Democrats and unpack Los Angeles County's new restrictions on police tracking vehicles through license plate readers. Plus, other key stories on national developments, local impacts, and what it all means for everyday Americans. All this and more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. Good morning, folks. We're starting today with a story that's got the legal world on high alert. President Trump's deployments of National Guard troops to cities like Washington, D.C. and Portland, Oregon, are facing intense court scrutiny in hearings that wrapped up just yesterday. These challenges are raising big questions about federal power versus local control. Joining me now to break it all down is our national correspondent, Ethan. Ethan, take us through what's at stake here.
Thanks, Grace. Absolutely. These are high-stakes battles testing the limits of presidential authority under what some are calling a, quote, crime emergency, end quote, facade. According to reporting from ABC News and the Associated Press, the deployments stem from executive orders Trump issued, declaring emergencies to protect federal property amid protests over immigration and election issues. Critics say it's politically motivated, targeting Democratic-led cities even as violent crime rates are dropping in places like D.C., where the Justice Department admits it's at a 30-year low as of August 2025. The lawsuits invoke the Posse Comitatus Act, which bars the military from domestic law enforcement without specific exceptions, and argue this skirts state sovereignty without invoking the Insurrection Act, that would need proof of rebellion or major obstruction.
Fascinating, and a bit guardedly controversial, if you will. Let's zoom in on Washington, D.C., where over 2,200 troops are still patrolling. What happened in Judge Giacob's courtroom yesterday?
Right, no pun intended on the guarding part, Grace. In the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab pushed for a preliminary injunction to pull those troops out, calling it an unconstitutional military occupation that violates the Home Rule Act and the Constitution's District Clause. As ABC News details, via Associated Press reporters like Gene Johnson and Michael Kunzelman, the troops from 8 states and D.C. were federalized under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, sections like 12,301 to 12,304, putting them under the Secretary of the Army's command since August 11th. That's despite violent crime down 26% year over year as of August 8th, and 35% from 2023. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and the ACLU of D.C., through attorney Scott Michelman, argue it's intimidating protesters and suppressing First Amendment rights, turning the Capitol into what Michelman quotes as a military state, per the Clinton Herald republishing AP content. The DOJ fired back, labeling the suit a frivolous political stunt and stressing the president's plenary control over D.C.'s guard, since there's no governor. Judge Cobb, a Biden appointee, denied a DOJ delay request but extended one deadline by 10 days, per courthousenews.com. No ruling yet as of last evening, according to pbs.org and scotusblog.com.
And the crime nuances there, Ethan. Homicides are down, but carjacking spiked. Does that justify the troops?
It adds layers, Grace. CBS News and Justice.gov cite MPD data showing violent crime fell 29% year-to-date through October 23, 2025, with homicides down 32% in 2024 to 187 from 274 the year before, and 27% so far this year. But they're still above pre-2020 levels, averaging 88 to 166 annually from 2009 to 2019. Carjackings jumped 547% from 2018 to 2023, tripling by 2024, despite a 53% drop in armed ones, making D.C.'s 2024 homicide rate 27.3 per 100,000, fourth highest nationally, as analyzed by Newsweek.com and USAFacts.com. The Brennan Center for Justice says it doesn't warrant military involvement without the Insurrection Act.
Turning to Portland, Oregon, that's another hotspot. What's the latest from Judge Corinne Immergut's hearing?
In the U.S. District Court for the District of Oregon, Trump appointee Judge Immergut weighed dissolving her second temporary restraining order, blocking federalized or out-of-state guard deployments. ABC News reports Trump's early October orders aimed to send up to 2,000 troops, starting with 200 from Oregon's Guard, to shield federal spots like the ICE building from protests he called driven by domestic terrorists. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler, and ACLU of Oregon Attorney Kevin Diaz sued, saying state police handle it fine, no rebellion exists, and Title X federalization ignores gubernatorial consent, echoing 2020's violence risks per opb.org and kgw.com. Immergut's first TRO stopped Oregon's Guard, so Trump shifted to California troops, prompting the second TRO. The Ninth Circuit stayed the first on October 6th, affirming presidential Title X power per democracydocket.com, but left the second intact. Oregon AG Dan Rayfield wants en banc review, citing federalism, as in theguardian.com. DOJ pushes for quick dissolution. No outcome yet last night, says pbs.org, with deployment possibly days away if lifted, per archamax.com.
And there's a West Virginia angle tied to D.C. Fill us in.
Yes, in Kanawha County Circuit Court, Judge Richard D. Lindsay heard from the West Virginia Citizen Action Group and ACLU West Virginia against Governor Patrick Morrisey. ABC News notes he sent 300 to 400 Guard to D.C. in August, calling it restoring pride to the Capitol. Plaintiffs say it exceeds state law limited to disasters or interstate requests, not federal whims amid low crime, per ACLUWV.org and WVMetroNews.com. Morrissey's office questions standing and defends via federal law, per WOAY.com. No ruling as of evening, PBS.org reports.
Broader picture, Ethan. How does this fit nationally, with Chicago and Memphis in the mix?
It's a pattern, Grace. In Chicago, Judge April Perry indefinitely extended a TRO on October 22nd, blocking 300 Illinois Guard, upheld by the Seventh Circuit, per SCOTUSblog.com and WTTW.com. Feds eye Supreme Court relief, CBS News says. In Memphis, a October 17th suit challenges Governor Bill Lee's 200 troops arriving October 10th for downtown patrols without arrest powers, claiming no legislative approval for non-rebellion scenarios, ABC News reports. Trump's up to 5,000 troops strategy across Philly and LA uses Title X for protection, not Insurrection Act, blocked in LA September 2nd and Illinois October 9th, per Wikipedia.org and AEI.org. Threats of invoking it linger, PBS.org notes. Stars and Stripes calls it testing domestic military power, while ACLU warns of civil rights risks. Supreme Court could reshape federalism soon, SCOTUSblog.com predicts, in this polarized 2025.
Wow, a real federalism face-off. Thanks for unpacking all that, Ethan. Welcome back to our morning broadcast on this October 24th, 2025. As our second story today, we are turning to pressing privacy issues in our own backyard. Los Angeles County is cracking down on automated license plate reader technology amid revelations of potential surveillance overreach. Joining me now to break it all down is our reporter Chloe. Chloe, good morning. What sparked this latest move by county leaders?
Good morning, Grace. It all stems from a bombshell investigative report by Cal Matters, the nonprofit California-focused news outlet in Sacramento, published just yesterday on October 23rd. Their deep dive, building on their June findings, uncovered how a dozen police and sheriff's departments in Southern California, including in Los Angeles, San Diego, Orange, and Riverside counties, violated state privacy laws by sharing data from automated license plate readers with federal immigration agencies like U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and U.S. Customs and Border Protection. This happened over 100 times in a single month, often via third-party vendors, flouting California's 2015 Senate Bill 34, which bars such sharing with out-of-state or federal entities unless specific legal hurdles are cleared.
For folks tuning in who might not be familiar, can you explain what these automated license plate readers actually are and why they are raising such alarms?
Absolutely, Grace. Think of them as high-tech cameras, like digital eyes on wheels or poles, mounted on patrol cars, fixed spots along roadsides, or even intersections. They snap photos of license plates in real time, logging the plate number, exact timestamp, GPS location, and sometimes the vehicle's image or color. This creates a massive digital breadcrumb trail of where cars and their drivers have been, which can feel like Big Brother tracking your every turn, especially in diverse areas like Los Angeles County, with its large immigrant communities. The CalMatters team pulled this from audit logs obtained through anti-surveillance advocates like Oakland Privacy and the Electronic Frontier Foundation, showing tens of thousands of vague searches tied to, quote, Homeland Security investigations, end quote, or, quote, CBP, end quote, often without clear links to crimes.
And while the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department was not directly caught sharing with immigration folks, how did the county supervisors respond to these broader violations?
They moved fast and unanimously, Grace. On September 17, 2025, the board approved a motion led by Supervisor Hilda Solis to tighten rules on the Sheriff's Department's use of this tech. According to board agenda files detailed by the Los Angeles Times and Associated Press News, key changes include automatically deleting unflagged data, that's sightings not tied to stolen cars, violent crimes, or missing persons alerts, after just 60 days. That is a shift from their old policy of holding it until a case's final wrap-up, which could drag on and complicate cold case hunts, as Board Chair Catherine Barger worried in her lone no vote on similar statewide ideas.
60 days seems short for law enforcement tools. What else is in this motion to balance privacy and public safety?
It is a tight leash for sure, Grace, like putting a speed limit on data storage to curb surveillance creep. They also ban sharing any automated license plate reader info for civil immigration enforcement with agencies like Immigration and Customs Enforcement or Customs and Border Protection, only allowing it if state or county law demands it or a judge issues a warrant. Every disclosure needs written sign-off from a records custodian, reinforcing Senate Bill 34 and the 2017 California Values Act, or Senate Bill 54, which keeps local cops out of federal immigration roundups. Plus, all deputies and contractors get mandatory annual privacy training on these rules, with records sent to the county's Inspector General and Civilian Oversight Commission for watchdogging.
Impressive oversight. How many of these cameras does the Sheriff's Department even operate? And what is their stance?
Reports vary, but U.S. News and World Report cites departmental data putting it between 455 and 931 cameras countywide, a real fleet of watchful eyes. The department, under Sheriff Robert Luna, told CalMatters and echoed in reports by LAist and the Los Angeles Times that they welcome the motion but already comply with Senate Bill 34, sharing data only for legit criminal or safety purposes with no current federal deals. Still, as of today, no public updates to their policy page on lildy.org, with full rollout eyed for early next year, about 2 months out, including a big compliance report to supervisors by January, which is roughly 2 months away.
This comes after statewide efforts fizzled. Chloe, fill us in on that bigger picture, like the recent veto.
Right, Grace. Governor Gavin Newsom vetoed Senate Bill 274 on October 7, 2025, just 17 days ago, saying its 60-day data cap and needs for super-specific search reasons could hobble investigations, even while praising the tech's role in snagging suspects and recovering cars. Cal Matters and Associated Press News covered his letter, where he noted the intimate movement data at stake. Meanwhile, Attorney General Rob Bonta has cracked down, sending warnings to 18 agencies since last year, including 14 in July 2024. There is even a fresh lawsuit against El Cajon Police on October 3rd for sharing data across over 24 states, per Associated Press News and KPBS Public Radio.
And those third-party vendors seem like the sneaky side door here.
Spot on, Grace, a real backdoor plate service. Companies like Flock Safety, Vigilant Solutions from Motorola, and Digital Recognition Network create national networks where local data gets uploaded and queried by feds without your department's okay each time, as flagged in a 2020 State Audit and Electronic Frontier Foundation reports cited by Vice and GovTech. For example, CalMatters June logs showed Los Angeles Police Department queries to Immigration and Customs Enforcement through these portals, no warrants needed, stirring distrust in immigrant neighborhoods, as council members like Eunices Hernandez noted to the Los Angeles Times. San Diego police halted after 62 shares in 2024, per KPBS, and San Francisco and Oakland face probes for 19 Immigration and Customs Enforcement links via vendors, says the San Francisco Standard and LAist.
With outlets from KPBS Public Radio and ABC 10 News to Ground News tracking this at 63% left-leaning coverage among 13 sources, it feels like a pivotal moment for privacy rights in our multicultural state.
It is, Grace, a guardrail against surveillance overreach while keeping the good plates from going bad in crime fighting.
Thanks for that detailed rundown, Chloe. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Here are some other headlines. In Beijing, the blueprint for the next big build-out, China's 15th five-year plan charts a course from import to home port, prioritizing tech self-reliance and a stronger consumer engine. Leaders say they'll erect a modern industrial system, accelerating innovation in AI, biotechnology, and new energy to bite back at global headwinds. The plan aims to shrink reliance on foreign advanced tech, pump up domestic demand, and deliver high-quality development on the road to becoming a mid-level developed country by 2035. It's a silicon safety net for an economy buffeted by trade tensions, soft consumer spending, and a property slump. The detailed plan is slated for approval in March 2026, setting the decade's GPS for the world's second-largest economy. In Tennessee, investigators will brief the public today on the October 10th explosion at the Accurate Energetic Systems plant that killed 16 people. The blast boomed across county lines, felt more than 20 miles away in the rural stretch between Hickman and Humphreys counties, about 60 miles southwest of Nashville. The cause remains undetermined. Multiple agencies, including the ATF, are combing debris for evidence and remains, in a painstaking search turning shockwaves into answers. Worker safety advocates say the deaths were likely preventable, calling for stronger safeguards in high-risk industries. A lawsuit from a victim's family alleges the factory wasn't maintained in a reasonably safe condition, keeping the blast radius of accountability squarely in focus. Target is, targeting its org chart. The retailer will trim about 1,800 corporate roles, roughly 8% of its global corporate workforce, by laying off around 1,000 employees and eliminating 800 open positions. Incoming CEO Michael Fidelki says the goal is to detangle decision-making, not just slash costs, after 11 straight quarters of flat or declining sales. Leadership positions will be cut at a higher rate as the company flattens its structure to move faster against Walmart and Amazon. Store and supply chain jobs aren't affected. U.S. headquarters staff are asked to work from home next week, with notifications set for Tuesday. It's a red and white reset to regain the bullseye on growth. On the high seas, the legal tide is turning turbulent. The Trump administration has expanded its campaign of lethal strikes on suspected narco-trafficking boats, now at least 9 strikes with a minimum of 37 people killed, including 2 new hits in the Pacific. Officials argue the U.S. is in a non-international armed conflict, with cartels designated as terrorist organizations, citing a secret Justice Department memo. Critics, from former State Department lawyers to UN experts, say the killings are extrajudicial and breach international law. With no public evidence the targeted vessels carried drugs, pressure is mounting in Congress for transparency, while South American leaders, including Colombia's president, register sharp dissent. It's a clash of cartels and cartels, where the memo's the word, but the public can't see it. And on the dinner table, a beef about beef. To tame record-high prices, the administration is quadrupling the low-tariff quota for Argentine beef from 20,000 to 80,000 metric tons. Farm groups like the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and RCAF say the move undercuts U.S. producers, turning a free market into a fee market. Economists doubt it'll carve much off grocery bills. Argentina supplies only about 2% of U.S. beef imports. The White House pitches it as a short-term price fix paired with new supports for ranchers. But with producers just recovering from drought and low prices, the market mood is less filet mignon, more high-stakes flank. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 4.0, Gemini Pro 2.5, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.